Y'all aren't going to get good camera angle shots if you start making me laugh now.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, you're allowed to laugh.
Can we do a show?
Let's do a show.
Hang on, I can do the clapper thing.
Clap on. Clap on. I don't know where you're going with that.
Here we go. We're going to clap. 1, 2, 3. That's how I'll be able to sync up the video.
Did you get a
With
fly?
the audio. I got a fly.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Southern Fried Radio Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Knox and Christy Jordan, here this week to answer the question.
I'm just trying, like, what question we answered, Tim?
If Double Dip Recession is so bad, why do they make it sound so delicious?
That does sound good. Hey, you want a double dip recession after the show today?
Can I get sprinkles on my double dip recession, please? All right, are we ready?
We're ready.
Shall we do a show?
Let's do a show.
Let's do a show.
Go ahead.
Count us back from 12.
I like where we were at.
Very good. Hey, y'all, welcome to another edition of the Southern Fried Radio Show. Tim Knox over here, Christy Jordan over there, Dana and Gracie behind the board.
Woo!
Intern Alexa over here taking pictures. It's a multimedia day. We are starting video. Everybody wave with the video. Dana,
Sit
do
up
your
straight,
little
smile.
kid on the back of the bus wave. And then we got some flip video going over here.
Yes.
Video of Dana doing that face. Ooh!
Oh my gosh.
Somebody give that kid some ice cream. So anyway,
Riddling.
we're double dipping in the media. So it's going to be a fun show. Hey, I hope you had a good week. Christy Jordan, how are you?
I am great. How are you doing, Tim?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. Had a interesting day yesterday. The theme of this show, by the way, or at least the first half, is things that you have done to your kids that you're ashamed of, but are kind of funny, or things that your parents did to you that they should be ashamed of but ain't, but were kind of funny. So here's I'm going to kick this off.
Yeah,
okay?
yeah. I was on your Facebook page yesterday.
All right. 12 years old. My daughter Chelsea, 24 years old, had to go in for finger surgery yesterday.
Right.
And it was on this finger right here. Okay?
Oh, that's going to be an interesting cast.
Well, that's why I did this. Right, yeah, she's walking around now. But anyway, the reason she had surgery is because she had surgery 12 years ago on this finger after she broke it playing volleyball. And when they did the surgery, they left a stitch in there. And the stitch, after 12 years, is working its way out. My daughter's body has a way of rejecting things like stitches, piercings, boyfriends.
Good. Okay? That's a good thing.
So her finger was all puffy, so she had to go in for surgery. Alexa is taking pictures of me doing this. But here's the bad part. Originally, 12 years ago,
I love this
when
part.
she broke her finger during a ball game and said, "Dad, I think I broke my finger," I said, "Suck it up and play ball."
You did go rub dirt on it and walk it off? Bad dad. Bad dad.
Horrible daddy.
But there is some background here because Chelsea was one of these kids who she was always very athletic to a degree. And so she was famous for faking illnesses to get out of playing.
Right.
You know, she would be playing basketball and out of the blue, grab her side and limp over to the bench like she had appendicitis. And she'd be sitting on the bench and I'd be in the bleachers across. I'd be going, "Get back in there. Get back in the ring." And she's like, So when she broke her finger during this game, I'm like, you know, we've had all the pitiful me we're going to take. Get back in there and finish the game. After the game, the finger is like this big, swollen up. And, of course, her mother's like, "You are the biggest SOB on the planet." So she had to have surgery to repair this. They left the stitch in. Yesterday, she had to have surgery to repair the first surgery. So...
And she's recovering?
She is recovering.
And what have you bought her?
Well, I'm paying all the medical bills.
Well done.
Deductible, anything she wants. But it is funny because this finger is wrapped and she has to hold it up. So she met me for lunch yesterday and she's walking through the Chinese place.
You're number one, Dad.
Yeah. And that brings up an interesting point. You know, on TV they can show just about everything. You can show people...
Oh, and they say everything too.
Everything, but the one thing that they blur out now is the middle finger,
Well,
and I'm just not quite sure
bless
why.
their hearts for finally deciding to have a standard on something.
Yeah, but you can show body parts, but you can't show a middle finger. It just doesn't make much sense. Well, all right. Well, there's my story. Have you done anything to drive your kids into therapy?
You know, I asked my son. Well,
every day, I'm sure you.
I asked my son today. I said, "Baby, Tim says we're going to talk about ways that our parents have embarrassed us." I said, "Have I ever embarrassed you?" And he he said, "Mother, you are the most wonderful person I've ever."
I'm sure he did.
He actually said, he immediately said, "Yes, yesterday." I was like, "What did I do?"
What did you do?
Well, and this is so minor, but he's 12. I was talking to the marketing rep for White Lily. I did some work with them, and I was talking to her, and I said, "Well, I gotta let you go because my son and I are going for a coffee date." And he said, "You called it a date, Mom. I don't mind you telling people that we get coffee together sometimes, but you called it a date." Honestly, he's 12.
Bless his heart.
So he's really, but usually, you know, what I do is I have this running thread with him, and I've even worked it out with the school office staff. They're going along with it and saying they're going to be my backup. I keep saying I'm going to go to his school and rap on the PA system.
You got to go sing that Good Morning song.
Oh, Lord.
What you need to do.
Well, I always tell him I'm going to go and I'm going to rap. And I said, "Baby, I'm practicing. You want to hear how far I've gotten?" And the school secretary is telling me, I said, "Brady, you know, whenever your mom's ready, tell her we're learning the song. We're going to be background singers." So I told him, I said, "I can do that, and then all your friends will know how cool you are."
But isn't it funny, though, that we get such pleasure out of dementing our kids? Dana, have you ever done anything to screw up your kids?
You
The
know,
ones you know about?
Gracie, come here a minute. We were talking about this morning when we got the assignment as to whether, and really, quite honestly,
Tim,
I
the
don't
assignments.
think we're the people that you really want to open up Pandora's box and discuss these things with, because we're both still in therapy.
You scarred a lot of kids in your time?
No, actually, we were the scarred kids.
And then we scarred ours.
I did my best not to scar mine.
But
the only really creative thing that I ever came up with, because beating this child did not work, grounding this child did not work. She's a good kid, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Creative writing.
You made her write.
I made her
things?
write creative things like a day in the life of a ketchup bottle.
Oh, my God.
She didn't get in trouble very much because she got writing assignments.
So in every one of these essays, they'd start off, "The ketchup bottle's mom is such a pain."
Pretty much, yeah.
That's hilarious.
Brady came in the other day. He was asking if he could download an app. You know, he's constantly like, "Can I download an app? Can I get this app?" And I said, you know, I had to have time to check it out. I had to look at the reviews. I had to see what it's like. And so he came in the other day. I said, "You know what? I don't have time to check it out." I said, "Go write me a 2-page report. I want you to include the latest reviews and at least one negative review. Tell me about this app. Tell me why you need." He's like, "Just forget it."
You're making a chore and they just forget it. And yet they somehow still love you.
Well, you know, another funny thing Brady did this week, the moms will enjoy this. He came out of his room one morning trying to get ready for school, and he said, "Mom, somehow my closet has run out of jeans."
That's good. Oh my God.
And I said, "You know,
Somehow.
that unfolds some of the mysteries of the universe."
Son, this is a washing machine.
Somehow.
Here's where we keep the soap.
That's hilarious. I love it. I'm going to try that on Melissa, and I'm sure I'll get the same kind of reaction. But
Ooh.
what's funny to me, though, is the stuff that our parents did to us, you couldn't get away with now.
Oh,
It would
God,
be,
no.
It would be abuse, right? Here's a case in point. My dad, who... his sense of humor was warped. Working on a car one day, and I'm probably 8 or 9 years old. And he's got the hood up, and he's working on the car, and like an idiot, I'm like, "Daddy, can I help?" And I talked just like that when I was 8 or 9. I was really popular with the girls. He said, "Son, come over around here and get on, and he handed me a plug wire, and he said, "I want you to hold on to that wire for just a minute and don't let go." And I'm like, "Okay, Daddy, I trust you." So he gets in the car and revs it up, and I'm holding like a spark plug or wire or something. I don't even know to this day. And this jolt of electricity goes through my arm, up my shoulder, down my and came out in my toes, and knocked me for a loop. And I'm laying there on the ground smoking, and I look up, and my old man is laughing. He is sitting there going, "Isn't that the funniest thing ever?" And I'm like, "I'm going to kill you in your sleep one day."
You bring up, again, a really interesting point, and it's not just about what our parents did to us, but what about the products and stuff that we grew up with? Now, case in point, look at the extremes that we go to today for safety seats and strollers and things like that.
They didn't even have seatbelts in cars.
Back in the 1970s, Mom and Dad would load all 4 of us up in the Chevy Impala without air conditioning.
Yeah.
We would head off on that trip to Disney World. We were in the back seat on a piece of sheet metal literally sheet metal,
Yeah.
that had these hooks on it that
But you
hooked
could fry
onto the
bologna on
front
that.
seat. Oh yeah, it got hot. You had no air conditioning. You're sitting on a piece of sheet metal because it was supposed to be more comfortable. We could all lay down. Now, there's no seat belts. If there had been a crash, one of us was going to be decapitated. You were going to be launched through the front windshield. And these were products that they sold to make it convenient for your parents
Isn't
to
that fun?
travel with a load of kids.
Now, how many kids did he travel with?
That was 4 of us.
Okay, so if he lost one, he still got 3. Right? Not a big deal.
As long as it's not the girl.
Oh, Lord help us.
Yep, I can remember that. When I was growing up, we had an old Country Squire station wagon. Ford Country Squire, the one with the wood grain on the side.
The Brady
The
Mobile.
Brady Mobile.
The very rear seat that faced the opposite direction?
Yes.
Well, no, the one we had was so retarded. The seat in the back faced out the back window.
Yes, that's what I
Yes.
meant. It
So
faced,
so some of them they would face inside, you
Right.
could sit across, but this one faced back, so you could never see where you were going. You could only see
That's
where
where
you'd
you'd
been.
been.
Or you could sit. The cool thing though was if you were in traffic, you could sit there and look at the car behind you. And I would hold up signs like being kidnapped.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
this sort of,
Tim.
Or you're
Yeah.
or you're number one.
You're number one. My dad says you suck.
Daddy had a big Chevy full-size
Daddy?
truck, Daddy, and we were so cool because he had the Dukes of Hazzard horn. Dun, 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 dun.
Oh my God! You
We
look
were
up redneck in
awesome.
the dictionary, and there's your
Oh
D.
yeah. Daddy even had a rebel flag.
Flag?
You know those things that would go on your back window and cover the whole back window? He had a
Yeah.
rebel flag.
And a gun rack?
Huh?
And a gun
Gun
rack?
rack.
No, he
yeah.
carried his gun on him.
Don't need no
Mama
rack.
had hers in her purse, and Daddy wore his on. Well, he had one on his waist and one on his ankle.
Good.
He's a cop.
He's a
Let's
police officer.
qualify that. But yeah, this old Country Squire station wagon, it was, it had the wood grain on the side, and the wood grain wore off, so my old man painted it and made faux wood grain on the side of the
That was, hey, maybe that's where, he was Martha Stewart's inspiration.
somebody's
He was a
inspiration.
pioneer in the
Sure.
arts and crafts industry.
He sure wasn't Dr. Spock's inspiration. I'll tell you that. But, hey, we're having a good time. It's a Southern Fried Radio Show with Tim Knox, Christy Jordan, Dana, and Gracie, and the wonderful intern Alexa, who is constantly on a quest to get my good side. Give up.
It ain't gonna happen.
It ain't gonna happen. Hey, we're gonna take a little break. We're gonna refill our coffee cups since somebody spilt mine.
You're
Did you
listening
get that on
to
video?
the Southern Fried Radio Show with your hosts, Tim Knox and Christy Jordan. We'll return right after this.
Did you open?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm sorry.
welcome back to the Southern Fried Radio Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tim Knox and Christy Jordan.
I love it when you giggle like that. That's funny.
I gave him a tip again today, so he drawing my name out.
Did you really?
Welcome back to the Southern Fried Radio Show. We've got fresh coffee in our cups, and we're ready to roll. And I was singing during the break, and Tim fussed at me because he said, "Christy, that was actually funny."
Well, I walked in
You
and
need
you
to
were
wait.
singing this little ditty, and I didn't know what you were singing, and I said, "Save it for the show." So what was that?
When I had my first child, I was trying to come up with different songs and things, because you always sing songs to your kids. So I used to sing "I Got Feet That Stinky Winky Winky."
No,
To my baby.
I don't think I've ever heard that. Could you sing a few bars?
I got feet that stinky winky winky as I go marching merrily along. But you know what's funny is I was holding him like, okay, my sister, the first night we're home from the hospital with this sweet little, my firstborn child, and I'm wanting to sing to him, and I'm trying to think what songs come to mind. Well, my sister and I, when we were younger, we used to watch the movie Annie every day after school. So I'm rocking him and I'm singing, and his name is Brady. And I start singing, Brady, Brady's his name, if you please. And then I get to the next line, if you don't believe me, ask any one of the fleas. It was a song about the dog and Annie.
Poor little Brady. He's like a day old looking up going, what the heck have I gotten myself into here?
But I sang that to him the whole time.
This
because
is
it
why
worked.
this is why we can't tell stories about our kids, because when my son Brenton was a child,
Did he have fleas?
well, he had his father.
My kids had lice.
I used to cuddle my son, and I used to sing lyrics from Queen songs as Robert Goulet. And it would be things like, you suck my blood like a leech, you break the law and you breach, screw my brain till it hurts, you've taken all my money.
And we wonder what's wrong with our children.
And see, this is why we don't discuss what is
Wrong with our
Start
children.
we
kids.
were
Clearly,
not
we will not be having a parenting show.
we were not good parents.
Well, I think we were good parents in our own little ways. But see, I was always
Maybe
kind of
you were.
I was a practical joker.
Black Widow is a good wife.
But see, I always thought, that's pretty good. I always thought it would be nice to have one kid that you treat perfectly and they grow up and shut up and tell it. I didn't do this. I'm just thinking out loud that it would be really cool to have a kid that they learn their language skills from you. I think it would be really funny to teach them wrong words. You know what I mean? Like, rather than pen, this would be something ugly. So when you go, now here's a true story. I was talking about my daughter Chelsea.
He is so warped.
This is, well, I didn't do it.
Warped.
Anyway, my daughter Chelsea, who I talked about in the first segment about getting her finger fixed, her first day of preschool, all the kids were there and the teacher said, okay, you guys all stand up and introduce yourselves. And she stood up and said, my name is Chelsea, damn it. And it was because somebody, probably not her father,
No, her daddy.
would
Not her
always say,
daddy.
Chelsea, damn it, come on. So, true story. And so here's the kicker, and then I'll let you talk, is I teach a business class, believe it or not. Chelsea is in my business class this time, and you get to make your own little nameplate. You know what her nameplate said? Chelsea, damn it. Now you talk.
Well, we talked last week. Didn't we touch briefly on nicknames?
You know, we did. We were talking about some funny nicknames. I love your uncle's nicknames, by the way.
Oh, don't you say those on air. It was great uncles.
I'm sure they were.
We cannot say that in the show.
Can you just do two of them? Just do the two lesser evil ones.
One of them's name was Richard.
Okay, and he had a nickname. Now, what was the second guy?
They called one Short.
And the other one was?
I ain't saying.
Come on now.
I ain't saying.
Don't be stiff on me. Come on.
There you go, Tim. You said it. So that was three men. Honest to goodness, that was their names. That's what everybody called them. They were
Short,
brothers.
Stiff, and Richard.
Okay. Oh gosh,
I don't really know why they were called these things.
I don't know.
Because Short was a very tall man.
Their daddy was a Baptist preacher, and I guess they needed a little comedy relief.
That's hilarious. Okay.
I don't know.
Short was a tall man at times.
Stiff was always bent over.
The wrong
Richard,
way.
who knows what he was.
This room just got really hot.
You get a picture of Christy hyperventilating.
I got Christy locked and loaded over here.
She's doing the what we call the retarded duck wave, where you're trying to fly like
Oh gosh. Okay,
So, were there other family members with odd names?
Me.
You?
I brought proof today. I actually brought something to defend my brother. As I told, it's very seldom that I do that. When I was born, my brother was 3 years old, and I was the first girl, and they took him to the hospital to meet me. And he met me, and he took one look at me, and he spit on me. And he said I was ugly and I looked like a poochie dog. So only in my family now, I don't recall my dad ever calling me Chrissy. He calls me Pooch. Pooch or Poochie. My whole family has called me that all my life, Pooch or Poochie. But has everybody had breakfast already?
Are you gonna?
Yes, yeah.
I brought a baby picture. I emailed my mom this morning. I said, "Can you scan and email me one of my baby pictures?" I said, "I want to show people how ugly it is." And she emailed me and she said, "Don't call it ugly. I think it's cute."
Can we see it? Let's see it. Oh, like holy crap!
Yeah.
Ah! The
See,
humanity.
isn't that ugly?
Let me see. That's not.
That is the
Well, you were
ugliest-
upside down. God love you.
Oh my God.
They
No,
should have
look.
called you Batty.
When my kids, when my kids were born, I
You
mean,
were
my
so
one
ugly.
thing
That looks
was.
like
iPad.
one of those pictures
Okay.
from like the History Channel when they're doing a documentary
know.
on the Lusitania.
When my babies were born, I mean, seriously, the whole time I'm in labor, I'm thinking, please don't look like I did. Please don't
Well,
look
no,
like I did.
you were cute in kind of a little albino monkey kind of way.
Ugly.
And so he spit on you and said you look like a poochie dog, which I think is an insult
And
to
that was
poochie
the-
dogs.
I was going to say, that was the last time my brother was
Well,
right about something.
You certainly did blossom.
Would you hold that up here so that we can get
Wasn't
a...
any way to go but up from there, Dana.
We'll put that picture on the web.
That's awful. I know, I can't get my... It is ugly.
But you grew up to be such a lovely
But this would be
thing.
a free service we could offer. They could print this out and keep the crows out of their garden. And it might even keep like spiders and things from coming in your house. You put this on your door, it'll keep the tax man away.
Here's the big question.
Census people will run screaming.
Can we call you Pooch?
You can no. Let's just.
No.
Well, I mean,
Okay, fine. If you
Let's
don't
just-
want us to
Was
play.
was it you and I on Facebook that were talking about that we kind of had the same high school nickname?
What was your nickname in high school?
D-Funk.
Seriously.
I ran into somebody on Facebook.
You're not-
They
No,
called
I
me D-Funk.
Now, why they do that?
I have
He was-
no idea.
He made
I
them
was
feel like they were in defunct every time they saw him.
D-Funk.
You smell like defunct?
Funk was a
that's
positive
bad.
thing
I'm sorry.
back in the 70s.
okay.
To be
Oh.
funky, to
Funk
be funky.
was-
That's
To
it.
be
Okay.
funk, it was
Yeah,
cool.
it's a back in the day nickname.
They said, oh, I got so you were funky.
Oh, I guess so.
Do that, Christy.
Now, my dad calls my
Had I-
sister.
Yeah.
That's
do
I
this.
love you in sign language.
It's
My-
like a
Oh
bobble
no,
head.
that's not nice.
This is not
This
nice.
is I love you in sign language.
I see this on Facebook
You
a
ready?
lot.
You ready, Tim?
I don't get it.
My dad calls my sister Snicklepuss.
What?
Nickel.
I've never
sorry.
heard that one before. Snicklepuss.
Is this
Oh
a
wait,
blood
zoom in.
father?
Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, I'm so zoomed, it's not funny.
What are they doing? What the heck was
That
that?
was my talent.
Could I see it?
Okay, this is where the big
Okay,
voice
wait, just a
steps in
second.
and says, "You're listening to the Southern Fried
Okay, here
Radio
we go.
Show."
Ready?
There seems to be a lull right now in
That's
the
my talent.
creativity.
It
on
started
this
out as an
program.
Elvis
there,
impersonation.
there is no lull. She's doing like Elvis after he goes through a windshield. Do it.
Do y'all not have a talent? I mean, we have to have
Not
a
like
talent.
that.
Yeah, that was my
I
talent.
can do the thing with the tongue, but that's about it.
Oh, you wanted to talk about allergies?
I don't care.
No,
This
wait,
is
no,
what I-
listen.
Save
We
it
can
for
save
next
allergies for next
time. We
week.
got left. We
One,
got out
I
of
just
here.
want y'all to know that one of Tim's personalities
Poochie's
got on
getting on my
Facebook
nerves.
this
Come
morning. If y'all see somebody on Facebook and they talk in third person, it's not necessarily me. I get on there and I'm reading this and I'm thinking, this sounds like I'm saying it. Tim,
Well, I was
it's-
trying to post it as you.
Well, I think
Because
you
I
should
can't
probably
say
not.
ugly
Y'all,
things
tell me
about
if this
myself.
sounds like me. Do you? Okay, getting ready. Tim is sinus. Well, HE double hockey sticks this
Sounds
morning.
exactly like what you
Thanks
would say.
to all the pollen. Do you have a home remedy he could try? I told him to tie a plastic bag around his head, but that only worked for a few seconds. Does that sound like me? And I read
just
this
like
and I'm
you.
thinking, what?
That
I
is
did
the
not-
kind of practical joke you would play on
It's
somebody.
one of Tim's personalities. It's on the Facebook page. So y'all just remember,
No.
sunshine and light,
Can
sunshine and light.
you
That's
not
me.
picture Christy going, why don't you try to tie a plastic bag around your head? If you got sinus problems, maybe you should, stick your finger in a socket.
There is a place for people like Tim when he dies, but fortunately,
And it's a funny place
I'm
where
running the
people like
kitchens.
you are not. That's right. Hey, what are they serving in the cafeteria in hell today? Let's ask Christy.
Hot cookies and milk. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna step in here as the
Please
voice
do.
of reason at this point and just say that
We've
from
lost control.
here on out, from this day forward, we never bring baby pictures of ourselves in. Because I'm sorry, Christy, but ever since you brought that picture out, this thing
Kinda
went
killed the
right
mood.
down.
I know. Isn't it bad?
It
You know
is
what,
bad.
though? I was a really, and I'll bring you a picture, I was a really cute baby.
No, well, all babies
It's-
look like Winston Churchill,
it's-
except for
No,
me.
I didn't. I looked like
You went the
Winston
other
Salem
way.
or something. Honest to God, I mean, bless your heart, God love you. That's just
I know it
horrific.
is. And my mama told me, she said, this is proof that mothers always love their babies. And she said,
It's pretty-
and they usually think they're beautiful, but they always love their babies.
Well, I think we should commend your mama.
Seriously, I know. Isn't it awful?
This reminds me of that thing where that woman raised that chimpanzee.
And then it
People
tore her
don't believe
face
it.
off.
All right, y'all, you've been listening to the Southern Fried Radio Show.
Such
Christy,
as
get
it
us
is.
out of here.
Thank you for joining us this week. I hope y'all come in next week. And be sure and check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/Southern Fried Radio. We do all kinds of crazy stuff. And Tim is usually the one making the post. That's my disclaimer.
And if you want to download a picture of Christy when she was a baby, you can do that at ohmygod.com.
Y'all be sure you download us on iTunes where you can subscribe for free. Or you can listen on the website and watch a video on our YouTube channel too.
We even have a YouTube channel now, so
We all
y'all
have.
come back and see us.
Y'all come back now, you hip?
Get us out of
You've
here,
been
Dave.
listening to the Southern Fried Radio Show with your hosts Tim Knox and Christy Jordan.
That picture's scary.
This has been
You
a
said
Southern
my
Fried
name like a
Radio
Yankee.
production.
Say
Tam,
Christy Jordan. You gotta dip the Christy. Christ.
If you're going to do this, do it right.
I know.
Tam
Tim.
and
Knox.
Christy.
Teeyum.
Come on, Daner, get it right.
Tim Knox. Christy Jordan.
Dang Yankee.
You're the next contestant.
The Southern Fried Radio Show.
Poor Dana. Dana.
That was hilarious.
That's actually really, really good.
I think you're really cute, baby.
That
Oh,
was
God, no,
really
it was
no.